Shalom and good day all, this is T-Healing29 back again for another indie comic review, and in this indie comic review, or in these indie comic reviews, I'll be covering Assorted Crisis Events, Issue 5, and Medieval Spawn, Issue 4. I'll now get things ready and organised for the first one that I'll be reviewing. And as we start to move into Assorted Crisis Events, Issue 5, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? Sure enough, it does, because as you can see, we have this character who we learn her name is Anna, and of course, as you can see on the cover, there is a bit of a labyrinth of sorts. So we're sort of like getting a bit of a look into the labyrinth of her life, and I think this was actually really cleverly well thought of in relation to how they executed the cover, and I give it a 7 out of 10. Next is the area of the internal art, as we have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and also what's happening story-wise with the character. So as the story begins, we get to see a bit of a young Anna of sorts in relation to sort of like how she's grown up. We get to see a number of her trials as well as her labyrinth of life. As we get to go a little bit further, we do get to sort of see that she goes through some trauma, some troubled times, including suicide, attempted suicide, because of what's happened in her life. And we get to see how things have sort of like changed from past to present, including in relationships, until we meet the character at a bit of a trauma center. And we get to sort of like see how she has like become a survivor because of these circumstances. So for the internal art, I gave it a 7 out of 10 because it actually worked really well with the cover. And yes, maybe I should have given both the cover and the art something a little bit higher, but I am going to stick with the 7. Next is the area of the story, which is broken down into time, location, and cast. It's only if the writer might put in a comic reference to one of the previous issues that might be of importance to this story that I will include it. If not, then it's normally held until a little bit later on in the comic series. So first things first is the area of time. Do we really get a sense of when things happen time-wise? Not really. We're sort of like asked to follow along, and not that that's a bad thing. It would have been nice if they sort of like covered the characters' years, sort of like they could have covered the character as sort of like, so maybe from 3 years onwards and the issues that they went on. But that's alright. Does it ruin the story, let alone the story rating? Not really. Next is the location. Well, we sort of like learn the location of where this character is, and that is a temporal trauma anonymous center. And last but not least, the cast character mainly being Anna. The overall rating is a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move into Medieval Spawn. So, as we move into Medieval Spawn, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? In some essence it does, to which I give it a 7 out of 10. Next is the area of the internal art, as we have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and also what's happening story-wise with the characters. So as we start at around the beginning of the story, we have the character of Medieval Spawn, who also, I think he's meant to have a warlock or something with him, as he takes on this demonic type beast, as he's been in search of a entity known as Abraxas. As we start to approach the middle of the story, we notice the character goes through a bit of self-sacrifice whilst trying to save the army and his friends, only to later return, to which we get to see him ride off into the sunlight at the end. So, for the internal art, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the story. So, first things first, did we get anything time-wise? No, we didn't. Location? No, we didn't. Last but not least, cast of characters consisting of Abraxas, Medieval Spawn, and a Richard. For the overall rating, I give a 6.5 out of 10, as I do feel the story could have actually come off with a slightly better end than what they actually planned. But it is what it is. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.